What the fuck's the problem with men these days?
There's no problem with men.
Say more on that.
Okay.
I think, so I was maybe being a little silly in that question, but
I get what you mean.
yeah, in terms of masculinity, there's a lot of talk around masculinity, and in my work, I feel as though men don't always have a healthy relationship to masculinity.
Right.
Could be the way they grew up. It could be their relationship to other men and societal norms, or what we are telling, the messaging we're receiving of, this is what a real man looks like.
Yeah.
So living inauthentically, right? So how do you balance in your work sensitive, quote unquote, men?
Right.
How do you get them to lean into authenticity while still not feeling as though they are not man enough?
Totally. Oh, it's a great question. And I do think I always kind of struggle with this online of like calling a group of people like sensitive men.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Because it feels off
Yeah.
sometimes, because it doesn't translate, but I'm not sure what else to call it, because I also feel like all people are
Yes.
sensitive.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more.
So it's just like,
I hate that label.
I hate it.
Yeah, but I also don't know what else to call it.
Same. We need to come up with something.
Yeah.
Like
We'll workshop it.
Yes. Because I think for a man to have to put himself in that box of like, well, I'm a sensitive man is actually not useful.
Mm-hmm. What I see mostly is the people that are labeled as sensitive are the men that have a harder time shutting off their emotions. And some men are better at it than others, but the men that I can't shut off my emotions, so now, I'm depressed, or I'm struggling to suppress them. So those are the men that typically get the label of sensitive.
Exactly.
In my experience.
Yes. And I completely agree, because it's more of an ability hardwired into their nervous system of how close to their emotions and how far from their emotions can they be. So I tend to find that, men who are quote unquote sensitive, it's more that they're just more acutely kinesthetically aware of the felt sensation of emotion in their body. But it's not that they're sensitive. It's not like a bad thing. And then the men that are like the bros or the alpha man, the toxic masculine, which gives a lot of masculinity a bad rep. Those are people that can basically have the kinesthetic, negative, out of integrity, bodily sensation in their body, the shadow, the shit that they haven't cleaned up from their childhood, the relationship patterns that are toxic. They can have all of that and they can still be confident. They can, because all that confidence is comfort. It's like a prolonged state of being comfortable in your body. So because they can be comfortable in their body, even though they have shit going on, that's what's attractive to women. Where on the other side is that men who feel their feelings, who can't run away from them, who don't have that ability, they get lost in that because they don't know what the fuck to do with their emotions, because none of us were taught what the fuck to do with our emotions. So their learned tool is to go up into their head. And then it's in the head, in the human part of our brain, where some manipulative tactics of codependency start to play in. And in the dating realm and in relationships, that's not sexy. It's almost like why the quote unquote nice guy is not as attractive, and niceness and kindness is not the problem. But the niceness can be unattractive because there's an undercurrent of manipulation of I'm being nice to elicit a positive response from you, the woman, so that I can feel validated. And no woman wants that.